afternoon, good afternoon, Internet. Eric Arnold, once in a while known as the Big E here in what I style as my sports barn. And it's Saturday, May 9th, coming to you roughly, I don't know, it doesn't matter what time it is in these videos. I mean, it's not like there are games going on at the moment, so you need to know exactly when I shot the video so you can kind of know how much time there is till post time. It's in the afternoon. I thought I'd make a video. Believe it or not, I'm actually feeling pretty good today. I'm optimistic, which is probably the first time I've been optimistic in 2 months. I just think we may have turned a corner here. Let me give you some reasons of my optimism. And all this happened in the last 24 hours since I shot the previous video. Here in Pennsylvania, the governor Tom Wolf, has locked the entire state down. And we've been locked down now for going on 2 months. It was initially 2 weeks, that's how it was sold to us. Now, 6 weeks, going on 8 weeks, and it largely still all locked down. Excuse me. He's got some kind of a get-free scheme, red, yellow, green. Yellow is basically the same as red, but you got to get the yellow before you can get the green, and no one even knows what green is because it hasn't been defined yet. Believe me, green is not going to be normal, whatever passed for normal in February. I guarantee his green is not going to be that, at any rate. So we're all still locked down here. And every Friday he comes out now, I guess for the last 2 consecutive Fridays, and he gives a press conference and it tells you whether or not he has determined which counties meet his benchmarks of whether they can go to yellow, which I guess means that whatever he decrees as non-essential businesses can at least open with all your various social distancing and all your other various health protocols that we've put in place here in the last 8 weeks. So you sit there and hope that you're one of the counties that gets at least moved to yellow on that Friday. Well, now he's done this 2 Fridays in a row. I believe now we've put roughly half the state now into yellow, saying, all right, you're close enough that you can move just this much to freedom. You're not going very far, but you're going just this much further to freedom. Well, this Friday, 2 of the counties said, we're moving on our own. We're not waiting for you to announce our names. We're just doing it. It was Lebanon and Dauphin counties, which was, I think, very significant. I've seen this happening in other states. There was one at least one in California called Modoc County. Now, I believe Modoc County has less than 10,000 people in the whole county. It's in the far northeastern corner of the county, up bordering Oregon and Nevada. And then I think maybe a couple other counties in that area have done the same thing. Just said to Governor Newsom, I believe is the man, just saying, you know what, we're just opening. We're not waiting for you to give us permission. We're so small, you're not going to notice anyway. And to my knowledge, he did nothing. Newsom did nothing. He didn't send in the National Guard. He didn't napalm the whole area. But now Lebanon and Dauphin County are relatively major counties here in Pennsylvania. They don't have 10,000 people. Dauphin County is the county where the capital's located. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is located in Dauphin County. So I think it's significant that these 2 counties have just said, you know what, we're moving to yellow and we're not waiting for your permission. All those other counties throughout the state that you've declared to be good enough to be yellow, we're good enough too. And we're going to do exactly what they're doing and follow the same protocols they're following, but we're doing it. I think that's fantastic. If this is the first time you've joined us here at the Eric Arnold Sports Channel, I've been on the Open Up the Economy train since a month ago. I believe I was on pro-government for 2 weeks, and then jumped ship, and I've been on Open Up the Economy immediately ever since then. And the reason is simple. Here in Pennsylvania, the number of dead people that we've had, and this comes out of the Reading Eagle, 2/3 of them have been in nursing homes. If you break down the numbers another way, 93% of the people that are killed by the virus, 93% of them are 50 years and older. 93%. You know, that number is probably pretty damn accurate. I took that number from the state of New York data in the beginning of April. I would wager that number hasn't moved much at all. 93%, give or take a percent, that's your number. So what percent of the population is 50 years aged and above? Oh, roughly 35, maybe 36%. So you're imprisoning 2/3 of the country in favor of 1/3 of the country. And it just doesn't make any sense, especially when most of this is happening in nursing homes. And they're already locked down. I know people in nursing homes. You can't visit them. You can't get in. So I don't know what else to do there. So at any rate, that's where I am. And I'm a bit despondent because everyone else has been over there in the let's lock it down forever camp. Well, now I'm feeling more encouraged because I think some of you all are coming into my way of thinking. I think you're coming here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to freedom. Hello, thank you for coming. So definitely, you should read the letter that Dauphin County Commissioner wrote. It's an open letter to anybody and everybody that wants to read it, but it's specifically targeted at the governor. And I could have written the thing. I mean, it is bomb thrower-esque. It is fantastic. He even opens with the exact same phrase I used in my letter to my state representative 2 weeks ago. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. That's right. And his point is basically that we meet all your benchmarks that you've thrown out there. We've got all the beds that we need if people start getting sick. Half of them are empty right now. Half of the ventilators that we have in this county are unused. That you're not even thinking about this stuff. You're just leaving it locked down because that just seems like the thing to do for you. So it was fantastic. I was so happy to see it. I don't know what else to say about that. One other mention about Dauphin and Lebanon County. I just saw this afternoon. Hershey Medical Center, which is in the Lebanon-Dauphin County area, they are announcing that they are now open for business as far as, how to say this, elective surgeries. You want your hip replaced. You want your knee replaced. You want your ingrown toenail taken out. You want a stent. You know, all this type of stuff that they basically said, well, we can't do that. We've all got to sit back here and wait for this flood of coronavirus patients. These guys are now saying, you know what, we're going back at least a little bit to the old way, and we're just going to help all these other people that want these surgeries done. Well, that tells me that the Dauphin County Commissioner is correct. Hershey, these are the medical experts. Hershey Medical is a major hospital, basically on the East Coast. These are major players. You say Hershey, where's Hershey? That doesn't sound like a big city. Well, it's not. But the medical center is a player because there's a lot of money behind the Hershey Medical Center. The Hershey Medical Center is hooked up going way back with the Hershey Company, the Milton S. Hershey Company. So these guys have got primo doctors with primo educations, and they're saying, we're going to open. So that tells me these guys are correct. They're not, what's the word I'm looking for, reckless. They're not doing this without thinking. This is good. This is all good. So I'm happy about that. Here's a couple other things I saw that made me think this is happening. that this is moving in my direction. I went on Facebook. I generally avoid Facebook. I just well, you don't see that everywhere else but the sports farm. Maybe that was an Asian hornet I just killed. Looked like your run-of-the-mill wasp. Probably a wasp nest in here somewhere. Well, wasps are usually easy to kill. They don't move that fast. So as long as you can get them before they sting you, easy does it. No problem. Where was I? Facebook. Oh yes, I went on Facebook. Last time I went on Facebook, I was depressed. I was so depressed. Oh, my Facebook friends were in a panic. Just, oh my goodness, shaming every last person that had a contrary opinion. That, gee, maybe we shouldn't hide inside. Oh, that's terrible. Money. All you want is money. You want people to die. Shame. Shame. Well, I went there just last night, and, you know, the temperature was different. The shame people were not nearly as vocal. The small businessmen that I know, they are very vocal. Perhaps one or two people have either changed their tune, or the whole tenor of the thread was, or whatever you call it, feed, was just not as anti-freedom, pro-lockdown. So I felt a little better about that. One of the main guys who caused this whole martial law to begin with, Niall Ferguson, if that name rings a bell to you. All right, here's a mistake. I am going to say Niall Ferguson throughout this video. That's an error. What I mean to say, the person I'm referring to is Neil Ferguson, not Niall Ferguson, who apparently is some kind of Scottish historian who I believe teaches at Harvard and makes the various rounds on TV talk shows occasionally. Niall Ferguson is the guy from Imperial College London who created the models that I'm referring to in this video, the erroneous models, the models that have been wrong. Niall Ferguson is the guy who's been outed as breaking the quarantine that he so vociferously advocated for. Niall Ferguson is the guy who's resigned his post over in the UK recently. That's who I'm referring to, Niall Ferguson. So my apologies to Niall Ferguson. Okay, resume video. I put up a graph in one previous video here on the board. I'm going to say sometime around late March. With this real sharp curve upwards. I left it on the board for like, I don't know, probably 3 weeks until my wife notified me that when I would stand here, the top of the curve would stick up on the other side of my head, making it look like a dick coming out of my head. So then I erased it. But that was the model, this Niall Ferguson, I think that's his name, Imperial War College or whatever the hell, London, who passed this around the UK, the United States, and when he passed this around showing 2 million people would get killed here in this country if we didn't shut the world down immediately, that's when Donald Trump went, whoop! Let's shut it all down! Shut it all down! And that's where we've been ever since. Well, this guy has been outed now as violating his own protocols. He broke, I guess, quarantine in March. Did it right around the time he's passing around a study. You know, here are rules for thee. But for me, I'm going to go over here and bang this married woman not in quarantine. You know, you don't know about that, but I'm going to do it anyway. Well, I guess we did find out about that. So he's been disgraced. His model's been way off. I think his model for like Sweden, you know, for those of you that are going to go, well, how do you know? If we hadn't locked it down, we'd be way up on that curve right now. Yeah, would we? I mean, I think his numbers for Sweden were, ridiculously orders of magnitude way too high. They never really shut their country down. They just let the people decide for themselves, and they somewhat self-regulated themselves. Maybe they're not as free as they were, but they're not locking themselves in their houses either. And those are the people that are probably much further along the curve to recovery than we are at this point. But at any rate, that guy's been disgraced. So I'm kind of hoping that his model is now following him along into the dustbin of history. So I'm kind of encouraged. All that's a long-winded way of saying I'm feeling pretty good that my way of thinking is starting to come into vogue, and this thing may end sooner than I was thinking it would. I was thinking it would never end. So I'm thinking it may actually end now. That's my most optimistic, pessimistic take I have, I guess. I think it may actually end. I think there may actually be baseball. So I've decided what I'm going to do is we're going to start doing preview videos here for MLB. We'll just do a team a day. If I feel rushed or I feel like that's not working out, maybe 2 teams a day or something like that. I guess we'll start in the West, if for no other reason. Those are the teams I care less about. Let's give you some East Coast bias here. I care less about the teams in the West because I live in the East. I live in Pennsylvania. So it doesn't mean that you can't make money off of the teams in the West. You need to pay attention to those teams. You got to know what they are because there's value in betting all the games if you just need to be prepared. But we don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, last I heard, they were talking about this 3-team, 10-team leagues, basically, and you would just play wholly within those leagues, and it would be, kind of like that. There would maybe a handful of teams that might have been swapped out. I think Atlanta would have been in the Central. I believe that, I know Atlanta was one of them, but we just don't know the answer to that. We're not waiting. We're just going to go ahead and jump into it. I think baseball's coming. I believe it's coming. It may be 2 months yet. I think that's probably a safe assumption. July 4th. I know they'd love to open on July 4th, and I don't know they're going to make it. It's not coming together fast enough for them. And things always take longer than you think it's going to take. So it might be 2 months yet. But we're going to do that. So I think we're going to start with Colorado, the Colorado Rockies. They're going to be our entry into MLB. We're going to do them tomorrow. I'll just try to give you an idea of whether I'm going to buy or sell this team, or I have no opinion. And whatever else I look at when I look at the Colorado Rockies is trying to figure out whether I want to bet on them or not. And we'll just do that for all 30 teams. So there you have it. That's what I wanted to tell you. Optimistic, feeling good, feeling like we're on the right track finally. Looking forward to stop talking politics and getting back to talking sports. So thank you, all you people coming to my way of thinking. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for helping us get back to normal. And we look forward to having sports soon. Thank you. Good night. Good gambling.